Welcome back to Walsall Fan TV, the joy and the pain. We gain a little bit of joy back, but just not enough. It's fan chat time, and we're talking the January transfer window, and we got Phil and Daz with us. How you doing, boys?
Good, thanks.
Very good. Darren's been very casual there, little hand raise.
I was trying to work out where the mute button was, so...
Right then, so I want to talk about the January transfer window. We'll talk about the locker and Matt Sadler as well. But just before we get on to that, Daz, you were there yesterday. What was your thoughts?
I thought we dropped 2 points yesterday. I thought Gillingham were poor, to be blunt. I don't think we were much better, really. I thought both teams lacked a bit of quality in the final third, and we weren't far away from winning, but we could have lost as well. But managed to get to half time with a clean sheet, which is a bugbear of mine for a long time. But 2 points dropped rather than the one gained, I think.
It says a lot about how far Walsall have come. We're away to a team that are up there, sort of competing for top 7, and it's a away match. And we're sort of disappointed with the point.
I think, but I think somebody challenged me on Twitter today saying they couldn't see the progress. But, we rolled over Notts County. We did Wrexham and Crewe. Beat Tranmere, who were in good form as well. And obviously New Year's Day. I think we are making progress. It's slow. It's not as quick as anybody wanted, but it's very in a kind of 2 transfer window kind of system. It's very difficult to make quick progress unless you're bankrolled with more money than sense.
I think we are making progress. I like the comment he made on Twitter. We're not a million miles away from being top 6 League 2 team, but there's still a lot of work to be done. We lack someone who can win a game with a pass-through ball, aren't resilient enough defensively, and don't win enough tight games. But as a work in progress, we're getting closer. I think that's fair. What do you think on that, Phil?
Yeah, I think he's pretty much summed it up there. I think I agree with Daz. I think we are making progress. I'm more confident that we're going to have a positive second half of the season, which is not something we've been very good at doing in recent seasons. I think the blocks are in place for us to have a decent second half of the season. I think that's really important that, even if we don't challenge for the playoffs, we finish this season positively and we can take some momentum into next season. What we can't afford to do is have a drop off like we've had in previous seasons. But I'm more confident that we will have a decent second half of the season this year.
Okay, we're going to talk about the loan moves and the January transfer window, the contracts, the locker, and Matt Sadler. So that's coming up. First and foremost, January transfer windows are normally an opportunity for Walsall to sort of put a bit of money in the bank and get rid of our best players. So it's been a positive one in that respect. Maybe not as great as some would have liked. It was always going to be difficult to replace Freddie Draper. Mo Fall on a stats basis is not a patch on him, but I mean he is a League 2 player. He's got League 2 experience, and he's been playing and he's been scoring. So not the perfect replacement, but I mean a valid one, a valid replacement. You think?
Yeah, I didn't see. I don't know. Daz can talk more about it yesterday. I'm not sure how he played yesterday, but I was quite impressed with Fall. The first game I saw him against Sutton, I thought he showed some nice bits of link-up play. I thought his movement was decent. But as I say, I'm only judging that on one performance. But yeah, I was disappointed that we lost Freddie Draper. We all were, but I wasn't surprised.
No, it made sense to lose him really from Lincoln's point of view. He's developed well, hasn't he?
Yeah, but obviously he's bought two strikers in, hasn't he? He bought Farl and Josh Gordon in. I've been sitting here from Daz how the pair of them linked up yesterday as a pair.
Coming to Daz on that. From the clips I've seen, it looks like Josh Gordon is just short on confidence in front of goal.
Yeah, I saw a few people that were slightly critical yesterday, which I thought was harsh. I thought Gordon should have played against Sutton. I thought he was exactly the type of striker we should have had from the start against Sutton, and I thought he battled hard yesterday. Again, you go back to the tweet. I said that they were feeding on scraps at times. The lack of a through ball or the lack of quality into them made it very difficult for them at times. I understand the logic in both of them. I also understand we were always going to lose Draper. We kind of got really lucky with Draper. Fall, on Yest's performance, you wouldn't know that he'd done as well as he had at Doncaster, but at the same time, away at Gillingham, you were feeding on scraps. I think generally they've done as good as they can in this transfer window without going too far. The boat is still kind of moored at the moment. They haven't pushed it out too far, and that probably tells you where their mentality is around a top 7 challenge as well.
Yeah, I think DJT have been doing well. Should he have been taken out for Josh Gordon? Because DJT had done well.
Phil, go on.
All I was going to say was, I understand why he started against Sutton, because he had come off the back of 2 goals in 2 games. Obviously, he got the goal against Grimsby and then scored again at Stockport. So I understand why he started against Sutton. But I don't think he had a particularly good game against Sutton. Again, I don't think the service to him was particularly great, but he wasn't really particularly effective in that game. So I wasn't surprised to see Gordon come in yesterday. And it'll be interesting to see what happens, because there's a lot of striking options there. When Johnson's fit again, whether he comes back on the bench or how it's going to look when they're all fit. Because once again, Matt's come on in the last 2 games. Again, I don't know how he did when he came on yesterday, but some of the reports suggested that he was quite effective when he came on. I don't know. I'm just going on what.
I was talking to Lee after the game, and he reckoned that Jamil Matt was an enhancement, and he improved us with his hold-up play more than Mal Fowler had done. Would you agree with that, Daz?
Yeah. It's Matt will give you an element of control, particularly when the ball goes long, and they kind of fall into the trap too often when Matt plays, of going a bit longer. I take the one frustration, and I'm not digging Matt out here, but he clearly brought him on because he was worried about balls being thrown into the box or knocked into the box as well. Yeah. And to concede so quickly if he came on, and I'm not blaming Matt, but they were obviously aware of it, and to concede so quickly after they tried to address it was really frustrating, frustrating. But for me, the tendency when Matt is on is to knock it long, because he'll kind of get onto it, and then we become detached.
Yeah, he needs ball to feet, doesn't he, Matt? Ideally, ball to feet on the halfway line, and he's much more useful. Just coming back to what Phil touched on, Danny Johnson, broken toe. Would he be playing now if he hadn't broke his toe?
He'd have played all season. He'd have played all season for me. Sorry, he'd have played a game again yesterday. Desperate for somebody who'll create something out of thin air. If you want somebody that's going to chase defenders and do stuff off the ball, he's not your man. If you want somebody who will turn a draw into a win and a defeat into a draw, I don't think anybody better.
Why is it that Matt Sadler just doesn't play him? I know. Is it because he just doesn't run enough? But I mean, it's just so frustrating, really. We've got a proven goal scorer there, and he's just not putting him on the pitch.
The one we
Maybe
haven't spoken, the one we haven't spoken about, and the one that really interests me is Ote.
Yeah,
Ote's getting towards fitness now, and he did some damage at Crawley the second half of last season, and I'm really interested to see if he's going to push Ote up top and what he can do.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned Ote, because he didn't play him particularly when he was fit. So welcome, Jack. If when out is fit, where's Matt Sadler going to play him? I'll put that one to Jack. Welcome to the show.
Well, he played him everywhere, didn't he? He played him striker, left wing back, and right wing and left wing. So it's not like we're stuck to one position. He'll play everywhere. But I think
probably an impact sub perhaps.
Yeah, but I think he's better than that. He's better than James Taylor, and Duggars ain't a bad player, but James Taylor, Ote is better than Duggars.
DJT, yeah.
It's just, well, he's got his favourites, hasn't he, Sadler? So it's just where he lines up in terms of being picked.
I think every manager has his favourites to a degree, don't they? And that's a weird one, but I suppose typical of that sort of thing. I think as managers and managers in business, I think everybody would still have their favourites. And all the way through school, as we would now back in the day, that one person getting picked for all the projects and all the presentations and all that business.
Oh, it's an outrageous accusation, that is, Simon.
And I saw
no favourites in my class.
I did see something on TikTok was quite funny. I won't sort of go into too much detail on it, but they're on about presenters, and there's only about 3 different presenters on TV, and they all get the gigs, don't they? So now new presenters are getting gigs, and then was it the Gladiators has got
Bradley and his son
Bradley Walsh, and they needed another one, so he's got his lad in on it. Like,
yeah.
Oh dear. Right then, we'll leave that alone. On the other guys who've come in, Evan Weir signed from Drogheda, and then we've sent him straight back. So I think that's an interesting acquisition. Do we know much about him? I think he's right-sided centre half, isn't he?
He scored the other day.
How did he?
Yeah, scored for Jada the other day.
Yeah, I think he was a left-sided centre half, wasn't he? Who played as a? I think I remember reading or listening to one of the guys from Drogheda talking about him. He's obviously highly rated there, and it looks as though there was a few other clubs that were sniffing around him before we signed him. I think they said he was a left-sided centre half who can also play left back as well.
That's good cover then for next season.
But yeah, I don't know. None of us have seen him yet, but I quite like the profile of that type of signing and the Jealous one as well. I do know somebody at Tamworth who works in the setup at Tamworth, and I spoke to him about Jealous, and he was very complimentary about him. He said he's a really, really good kid, great attitude, box to box midfielder, loads of energy. Did say that he's improved technically, but would probably need to improve technically a little bit more to be a regular starter in the Football League. But I think it's good that we've got players who are. I think it's a balancing act. I think it's good. It's good to have players coming in that are going to develop and improve and be good for the future. But at the same time, you've got to look at the here and now and think about bringing players in that are going to make an immediate impact. So I think it is a balancing act. But it's good. It'll be interesting to see them both when they do finally get their chance in the first team.
January transfer windows are normally for clubs who are struggling and need to survive, or clubs who are making a push for the playoffs. But most of our signings, or all of our signings pretty much, are sort of looking to next season. Obviously, Liam Gordon contract extension, Jack Earing contract extension, Jellis, as you say, is a player that's sort of a developing player that we can sort of improve. And Evan Weir as well is a bright player.
Oyson's contract as well.
Yeah, O'Shea McIntyre, yeah. He's a player that we'll miss, won't we?
Yeah, it's all about building for next season. A lot of people just want, us to go up this season, and then we'll probably come down next season and we'll have all this rigmarole again. But if we build for next season, we'll be in a stronger position. Then I've got more faith in us not coming straight back down.
Well, I think we've seen from the teams that have sort of gone up and that last season and the teams that have gone up this season, League One is a tough step up, isn't it?
Well, it's just full of big clubs that are run badly, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you look at you've got teams like Reading and Charlton who could potentially be with us next season. In League Two, two classic examples of what Jack's just said. Yeah.
Yeah.
Derby are in there and all, isn't they?
Yeah.
Well, not to get down, but
Yeah.
Manny Adebayaga. We wondered whether he'd come straight into the first team, but David Kagbu has improved quite a lot, hasn't he?
Legend.
Legend.
He will always be known for that run against Wrexham.
Oh yeah, that was awesome, wasn't he?
He will always be known for that.
Benefited hugely from playing next to Priestley.
And Daniels.
The kind of the effect Farquharson's had on the players around him is significant.
Yeah, the priest is immense, isn't he?
He's
I saw him in the lounge after the I think it was after the Wrexham game, and you know me, I'm often short of words, and all I could say to him really is, "You are immense," and I mean, just a physically and as a player, he is immense, isn't he?
Well, I was sat down with the media blokes the other day, like against Sutton, and you don't realise from how high up we are, Simon, how big he is until you see him like close up. He's enormous, proper broad.
Well, when I saw him coming, I was sitting down. I stood up, but I didn't sort of gain any height. I couldn't even be standing on the chair. Really, I think. Obviously, I'm not blessed with great height as it is. But yeah, it's having him around and having him fit is a key one for us. I think looking to next season, having him for a full season would be a sort of massive thing. We've looked at the players that have come in. Jamie Jellis, as Phil mentioned, I think he's a good talent, and perhaps similar to Tom Knowles, he's got a great engine. And he's an improving player. It's just whether he can make that step up. And I think Tom Knowles, I think we've bashed Tom Knowles quite a lot because he is a frustrating player. But he does contribute a lot to Walsall going forward, and he gets on the ball a lot. He is so frustrating. But I mean, can we improve him is the question. Can we improve him?
Give him a right foot.
Give him a right foot.
I think he was particularly frustrating in the last home game against Sutton. I mean, he had numerous opportunities in the Sutton game to put balls into the box and just didn't deliver, quite honestly. We know what he can do. We know what he needs to work on. We've spoken about it a lot before. But the question I would ask is there a better option at the moment to play right wing back?
Now we've had another transfer window and nobody's come in. But as I've discussed it with Lee, and if we had brought a right wing back in, Sadler would probably have still played Knowles.
Well, the thing is for Knowles, if you're a wing back, you must absolutely hate to play against him.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think some of the comments from Stockport fans, they were most worried about Tom Knowles, and they had him as man of the match.
Well, as you know, Simon, I had a few mates with me at the Stockport game. We spoke before the game. I had a few mates. We went up to Manchester for the weekend, and I had a few mates with me who aren't Walsall fans. I'll say it quietly, they're Wolves fans, but they came along to the game with me, and they made a couple of interesting observations. One of them said to me at half time, he said the best passer in your team is your goalkeeper, who of course was Jackson Smith, who is now no longer in the team, which I'm sure we'll discuss a bit later on. And they all singled out Knowles as being one of our better players. And in fact, in the Stockport game, he had the assist for the Douglas James Taylor goal. He also did a great run and cross for Liam Gordon, who missed a sitter from a header from 6 yards, which he somehow put over. And he also had our best effort on goal in the second half. So he can be, when he's playing like he did against Stockport, he can be effective, but he can be equally frustrating when he plays like he did against Sutton.
I think sometimes they give him too much of the ball. They should sort of use the left side more and draw more out of Liam Gordon. So I want to see more from Liam Gordon. I think he's a good player, Liam Gordon, but I want to see more of him going forward as a wing back.
We shouldn't forget that Knowles wasn't signed as a wing back.
No, he wasn't.
I don't know what his best position is. What is his best position if not wing back? Because wherever else he plays on the pitch, he's not as effective as when he's at wing back.
I think we signed him as an 8 or a 10, but he's playing at wing back. I think his confidence has been. I think he's low on confidence. I think he's a better player than I thought. He played well yesterday. He's kind of ball into the box isn't the greatest, but yeah, there's a. I could do without the kind of false injuries and fake limp, but as a fullback, he hasn't done badly. As a wing back, his final ball kind of lets him down at times, but he was never brought to that.
And he gets us up the pitch really well. He's often the guy that's getting us up the pitch, more so than Gordon on the other side.
It's a bit like when we had Joe Edwards at wing back, but just without like the final bit of quality.
Yeah.
makes his wing back. That game against Sheffield United when he was at wing back, he was immense. I remember that.
Yeah. Just very briefly, what did you make of Romeo Hutton, Daz, yesterday?
Didn't notice. I mean, Gillingham were poor. Didn't notice a lot about him. He came and took a throw in the second half. Saw his name on the back of his shirt and thought, "Oh yeah, he's playing, isn't he?" Didn't. I don't know. Is he any better than? Would you have swapped him for Knowles? I don't think so.
No, let's be honest. Though, he'd probably have fit in our.
There's that George Lasley playing for him as well, who was available this time last year when Mansfield were looking to offload him, and he went to Gillingham. He scored against us I think he scored against us in November before. But again, they were anonymous. They were just blue shirts. There wasn't anybody that stood out that you thought, oh, we must be interested in him, or I'd love to take him. So Hutton didn't say a lot. Yeah,
certainly not a player that was worth throwing lots of money at.
Correct.
From what you could see. The players that have gone out, Rollin, I don't think he was ever going to make the first team again. So I think that makes sense for him to go out. Ronan Mayer, there was an interesting article after chatting with the Rushall manager, saying what a massive loss it had been for him when Ram went back, and they were overjoyed to get him back again. The contribution to that team, I know it's down a couple of levels, but I mean, there's definitely a player in there, and he's going to be ready for first team for Walsall next season, I think. So that's a good player coming through. You're not sure about that, Jack? What are you thinking?
No, I think we actually handled the situation really well. I know some people don't think we handled it well, but the fact that we brought him back when we needed the depth and then sent him back when we don't, so we're not halting him, is much better than what we could have done is when just hang on to him. But I think next year the next step is to go to a team like Solihull, and assess it next January after like half a season in the National League. Don't throw him straight into the deep end of League Two when we're going to be pushing for promotion with lots of expectation on the season, because that's a lot of pressure on very young shoulders.
Yeah, he's not that young, you know.
In footballing terms, he's young, very inexperienced.
I think a player. I take what you say, Jack, but I think a player who was doing very well at another club was a bad luck on a manager who couldn't put a result together. And I think, personally, I think part of the reason he came back was not because we needed a left-sided option. I thought it was bad luck for the manager with somebody smashing it somewhere else, albeit a couple of levels down, where we were kind of Barrow, wherever else we kind of stank the place out for much of October and November.
Yeah.
I think it was a really defensive move by the manager.
Yeah, well, he was under pressure at the time, wasn't he? And things did turn around for us and saved him his job. We're going to come on to Matt Sadler in a second. One player that's gone back, Harvey Griffiths, he was quite a disappointing one, didn't really sort of make an impression. So I think, obviously, that's not particularly a loss for us.
Making the Wolves squad every week, though, ain't he?
Say again?
Making the Wolves squad every week.
Well, I don't know.
On the bench tonight.
When he came on for in the JPT, he just didn't look bothered when he came on for Walsall. So maybe he just.
To him, Walsall's probably just a bus stop.
Yeah, he probably just didn't want to be here, did he? He probably didn't want to be here. Can we talk about Matt Sadler? I think what I want to touch on with this. I've got a comment from James Evans. In the last fan chat, I asked you if you thought that Sadler was the man to get us out of this league. I personally don't. Have you seen anything to suggest he is? I'll go to Phil first to answer that one.
Yeah, I think probably if you look back at the last two fan chats we've had, it's maybe been a little bit distorted in the sense that the last fan chat we had, we came off the back of 5 wins out of 6, and the one before that we'd had 4 defeats out of 5, and then that disgusting 0-0 draw at Alfreton in the cup as well. So the one before, I think we're all very much down on Sadler. The last one, there was a lot more optimism around it, but the fact of the matter is that 4 defeats out of 5 doesn't define a season, and neither does 5 wins out of 6. A season is 46 games long. It's a long old slog. And if you look at where we are over the season and assess Matt Sadler on that, he's doing okay. We've won as many games as we've lost. We've had some encouraging performances. We've had some disappointing performances. We're not going to get relegated. We're probably not going to get in the playoffs. He's doing okay. Yeah. For me, and I touched on it earlier, the big thing for me now is that we cannot have a drop-off like we've had in previous seasons. We have to finish this season positively. He's talking a lot, and the club are talking a lot about building for next season. I'm getting a little bit tired of hearing it, quite honestly, because we've been building for next season for about 4 seasons now. Yeah. There has to now be actual evidence in terms of results and league position that we are building for next season, and that we take some momentum and some positivity into next season. So that's the key for me. I'm still not totally convinced on Sadler, but I think he's done enough to earn more time to take things forward at this stage.
Daz?
What Phil said.
Cheers, Daz.
Truthfully, what Phil said. I think he needs to finish in the top half. I think he probably needs to finish in the top 10 to justify progress. I think I'd be. Cut him a bit of slack in terms of he's been a bit unlucky with injuries, but so has everybody else. But truthfully, what Phil said is, I think he's still got things to prove to justify. He's the right man to take us forward. He makes some strange decisions at times, but I'm cutting him a bit of slack. How about
that? Jack, would you be happy with a top 10 finish?
I'd be happy finishing 10 points off the playoffs.
Yeah,
that would be progress for me. That was 3 wins. You can easily make 3 wins in the second season. Hopefully. I actually thought if we got Sadler after the Salford game when we lost last year 3-2, it wouldn't be a bad appointment based on how we played and how we spoke post-match. So I'm not going to be one who's like hounding for him to go. So I wasn't unhappy with the appointment, and I'm quite happy to wait. You know, I'm young. I've still got grounds in League Two I need to go to.
But I think
I'm quite happy. If we end 10 points off the playoffs, and well, we've got Gordon tied down, we've got Oshin tied down, Earing tied down. These players are not. These players wouldn't stay if they didn't like the manager. So they like the manager. They're going to perform.
And Isaac Hutchinson as well. He's got another year, hasn't he?
He's got another year. Would you be unhappy if we sold him the summer for a big fee to strengthen elsewhere, or do you think he's important for next year?
I think at this stage, I think I'd want to try and keep him really. But I mean, if somebody comes in with $500,000, he's going to go, isn't he? It's a business world and money talks. What I wanted to touch on with Matt Sadler, Anthony Russell's put a comment in there. Sadler's judgment leaves a lot to be desired. Game management. We have criticised Matt Sadler for not making substitutions, and then I think perhaps he was a little bit unlucky. He made subs at the right time, I think, against Gillingham, and then they went and equalised. So it's damned if you do, damned if you don't. Because there's some comments on Twitter saying, why did he have to change it, trying to settle for a point and that sort of stuff. But I don't think he was doing that. I think he was just freshening it up, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think he tried to cover the ball into the box a bit, kind of defend a bit. I think the Stirk one for Earing was partly tactical, partly we're still trying to feel Earing back into fitness. No issue yesterday. I got issue if you want to pick an issue. The goalkeeper change last Saturday is a bigger issue for me than what he did yesterday. I don't think he was far away yesterday.
I was going to come on to that next, actually. Owen Evans, I suppose, as the club and the squad set up for the season, it was clear that Owen Evans was the number one keeper. And he has an injury and drops out of the team because he's had an injury. And then when he's fit, you bring your number one back in. Is one mentality. But when your number two's come in and done so well, it feels wrong to make him out again.
I think it's clear from Matt Sadler's comments after the last couple of games that he sees him as the number one goalkeeper as well. I mean, he's even gone as far as to say he sees him as the best goalkeeper in the division. He said that after the last couple of matches. But I haven't spoken to many Walsall fans who think he should have come back in instead of Jackson Smith.
No, I don't think any. And the stats for the division have got him well down the pile. But it looks like Owen Evans is back to stay. Obviously, he's sort of coming in, started the last two games. I think it would need something significant for him to change back from that. But is it a coincidence that we're winning games and then he's brought Owen Evans back in and we've not won the last two?
I think the defence have got more confidence in Jackson Smith when he's got the ball at his feet, and I think that showed against Sutton. I mean, let's face it.
The whole ground's got more confidence with Jackson Smith.
Yeah. Owen Evans had some seriously dicey moments against Sutton. I mean, he could easily have cost us a couple of goals. There was that one in the first half where he got robbed of the ball on the edge of the area and the guy nearly got through. And then there was another one in the second half where he took a terrible touch and lost the ball in the corner. It's a really strange one for me. I think Jackson Smith came in and did very well. He had a couple of wobbly moments early on, but I thought he looked good. I think he kicks well. His distribution and the pace of his distribution, the speed of his distribution, it's a big advantage he's got over Owen Evans. So, it's a strange one for me, Evans coming back in.
And then rumours about an injury or a sickness for Jackson Smith. I just happened to bump into his dad, and there was nothing wrong with him. It's not an injury. It's not an injury. It's not a cold. He's just been dropped, and he wasn't particularly told why. So that's not a great one, really.
It'd be interesting whether we get his contract sorted.
Well, I think Owen Evans is contract to the end of the season, I think, and Jackson Smith also to the end of the season. But I think we might have a year option on Jackson Smith.
I know the Evans one might be interesting because
Evans, I think there was a rumor that Owen Evans wasn't that happy at the club, sort of going back. Whether that's true or not, or just murmurings, I don't know.
It wouldn't surprise me if he left.
Well, if he wanted to leave, he could have gone in January, couldn't he? But so maybe that's not true. Maybe he's just was unhappy because of an injury and losing his place in the team. So we'll see how he goes. I think it's good to have two keepers who can do the job, I guess.
It's a shame we're just picking the wrong one of the two.
Comment from David Pye. This sort of the new forward Steve time to gel. Yeah, I think that's a fair one. I think. What do we practice in training? Because Knowles and Gordon would be great players if they could cross the ball. That's I can't argue with that comment, really. Now this one is sort of a wider question, really, or a wider statement. Neil Hemmingsley. Fans need to understand how broken the club was on and off the field before Travella took over. We had no direction, but now we are turning a corner and fans are still moaning.
Because there's always something that can be improved.
I think they can always get better.
I agree with almost all of that. I think, to be fair to Pomlet, he began the process.
He did. If it wasn't for COVID, we'd have gone up under Pomlet.
I think I agree with everything, but I think Travella kind of have built on what Pomlet started to turn around. But the sentiment I totally agree with.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough. Really, I think as I said before, it's better, but don't ask me to quote any stats because the stats don't particularly say it's better. It just feels better. I think. It's only a very small thing, but the guy on the announcing at the game, he's got so much more energy to him, and so the match day experience is better. And then the locker, we sort of coming on to the thought of the locker, went in there with Stephen before the last game, and it's nice to sort of catch up with people and see people before the game, and it sort of just improves the whole match day experience to be able to catch up with people and have a drink with a volume of Walsall fans before the game. And what's your thoughts on the locker? Have you all been in there? I know I've seen you in there, Daz. Yeah,
I haven't been in there yet.
You've not been in there yet, Jack.
I was really, really impressed. I know there's a few like Walsall carpet or red and white Walsall or a bit more Walsall theme, but a kind of we play there 23 or 25 times a year, 26 times a year at the most. Some of them on a Tuesday as well. That's 100 hours in kind of 120 hours in operating kind of time. You look at the Villa ladies are there. I know they had 2,500 yesterday, I think. The Sunday market's there. There's a lot more to tap into that probably the kind of Walsall theme doesn't quite work as well with. I thought the fact it was it was neutral was a good thing. I also compliment Travella, going back to Neil's comment here. They spent some money well. They haven't gone for the lowest possible spec or the cheapest kind of way to do. If you look at the speakers, if you look at the screens, if you look at what they've done, they seem to have looked and thought, what's the right thing to do rather than the cheapest thing to do. And you can't always accuse decisions at Walsall for being that in the past. Too often we kind of took the cheap option rather than the right option. So credit to Travella and Boycott for doing the right thing, not the cheap thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it's as you say, the 23, 24 or 23 games, 23 occasions in 365 is you can't sort of have it just for one thing, can you? It's got to be open and versatile.
I remember.
I thought the pop-up shop was really clever as well. I think that's somebody who's been pragmatic and looking for opportunities rather than waiting for ideas to come. So whoever thought of that, well done.
Yeah, no, it's better. Have you been in there, Phil?
Yeah, I popped in briefly before the Sutton game. I had intended to go in there for a drink, but I got there a bit late, so I literally just went in and had a quick look around, and came out again. But yeah, I agree with what Daz said. I thought it looked quite fresh. It looked smart. I was a member of the Saddlers Club previously. I used to go in there before and after most games, and I think it's really good that it's open again. It's an option for away fans to go in and have a drink as well. So yeah, and going back to the previous point that Neil made, yeah, I agree. Trevelyan have done everything that they said that they were going to do so far. I think you know they've bought the freehold, they've reopened the Saddlers Club. I think we can all start to see changes in infrastructure, which will improve things over time. And I agree. You were never going to put right years of decay in 2 years. It's not
no, and the thing is, you don't want gut reaction stuff, do you? You want proper build.
Yeah, I get it, because, ultimately, the one thing that we want to see is success on the pitch. And there are some supporters who, turn up, watch the game, and then go home, and maybe don't worry too much about all the other extra bits. But there are a lot of fans who do want a good match day experience with the whole, make more of a day of it than some people. So it's right that they look at that side of things, and it's right that they invest, and that they make going to Walsall a good experience. And hopefully this will all snowball and show on the pitch as well as off the pitch.
On the pitch would be nice. Positive comment from Joe. We've had some great wins against top teams, but inconsistency isn't quite there yet. Sadler deserves time to sort of get it all working in the right direction. And as we mentioned earlier, Jamie Jellis fits perfectly in with the mentality that he wants, sort of energetic players that are full of running. And so that's good. That's good as well. Just a thought with Jellis coming in, and of course we've got McIntyre is out at the moment. Where do we see Sturt playing when he's fully fit? Because Comley has been up there for man of the match in every game he's been in, hasn't he? The last few games. Jack?
It's one of them. You think Comley, is he going to be here till the end of the season? Probably after the end of is he going to be here next season? Probably not. Because if we're going to build for League One, Comley isn't League One quality. And Sturkey's younger than Comley, so we really do need to try and develop him. So I would put Sturkey instead of Comley. Because one, Sturkey's our highest assist tallier for the season. And he's up there with the most tackles in League Two before he got injured. So I'd definitely be sticking Sturk back in the midfield as soon as he's fit.
Okay, that's good. Just say we've got somebody here saying hi from Russia, so that's nice to have some international visitors. Phil, what's your thoughts on the Comley Sturk situation?
I think Comley's done very well in recent matches. I think I've always felt he's been a bit of an underrated player, the job that he does. And I think he's been one of our better players recently. But I also like Ryan Sturk. I think Sturk's going to be an important player for us moving forward. It depends what formation he's going to play and how he wants the midfield to set up. At the moment, the Comley Hutchinson Earing combination I like. We spoke before about whether can you play, or do you want to play Comley and Sturk in the same team? Is it both, or is it one or the other? I would say it's one or the other. For me, I think Comley's got that shirt at the moment, but I do take Jack's point. I think next season, I know Comley's contract's up, Sturkey's there next season, so it'll be interesting to see what happens there. But it's again, it's good that you've got two good options for one position.
Yeah,
and I do like Sturk.
And when we put McIntyre into the mix and Jellis, and Tierney.
Tierney probably won't be here next year.
Yeah,
I think just one for Daz. Who would you have as your ideal three? Everybody fit now? The ideal three in the middle?
Wow. Sturk gets in my team most weeks for what it's worth. I think it's impossible to ignore Hutch. He blows hot and blows cold. But his goals and assists kind of drive him in there.
Yeah.
I'm sure Earring has done all right. For me, I think the shirt's up for grabs in the midfield. I'm going to avoid answering it too much. The shirt's up for grabs, and somebody needs to go out and win those shirts now. For me, we're looking towards the next season. I kind of commented yesterday, we're short of some kind of precision and flair to create, and I think whoever grasps the shirt, and hopefully Sturk will be one of them, then good luck to him. Just one thing, Simon, sorry about this. To the hello from Russia, stop invading Ukraine. Sorry.
Oh, we've gone all political all of a sudden.
It was a very political answer to begin with anyway.
Right then, we shall move on from that. I'll just let people know, any businesses that are watching, there's still an opportunity to partner with the channel. So get in touch if you'd like to support the channel. That would be good. We also have fan chat. So if anybody loves the channel and want to send us some super thanks, that would also be good. I think Chris Edwards' point, similar to what Jack was saying, really, patience for this season. Top 10 finish would be progress. Playoff place would be massive bonus. You ain't kidding. We're building for next season. I think what's not been mentioned that I was sort of expecting was Ben Boycott said he'd got money available for January, but they haven't really spent any.
I think we have paid fees for Evan Weir and Jellis. I'm much mistaken. I think we have. I'm not sure how big the fees are, but
somebody mentioned 15 grand for Jellis. I don't know whether that's true.
I don't know, but I know we have paid a fee for him, and we paid a fee for Evan Weir as well.
We probably got 50% discount for Weir though. We own the club.
That's not money laundering, is it? So
buy one get one free.
We get that up. One guy we're missing today is Lee. Lee got a bang on the head in Gillingham. He's got a bit of concussion. So we've got Lee's joining us on the comments. Do you think Sadler can get 20 plus wins? Because that's what you need to get in the top 7 places. Tight games, we don't win enough. Will that be a factor for next season?
He has only been a manager for 9 months. He's not going to be the finished article just yet.
Now, I think, is Sadler improving as a manager?
Yes.
Yeah, Phil?
Steadily, I think. Yeah. No, look, 20 plus wins, not this season. You look at our record so far this season. We've won 10 games out of 28. So that doesn't suggest that we're going to win another 10 out of the remaining games that we've got this season. So probably not this season. But like I said earlier on, I'm not totally sold on Sadler, but I've seen enough for him to be given more time to try and build and get more things in place. As I said it before several times, it takes more than 1 or 2 transfer windows to get where you want to get. Yeah. And the last thing that I think this club needs is another change of manager and another reset. It's the last thing we need.
Good comment there. Just catching up. Attack starts with goalkeeper. That's James's comment from earlier. So I sort of missed that. I'm trying to keep up with them. I'll just catch up as I can. I think Matt Sadler, yes, he is frustrating. But I think he's learning. I think he's learning slowly. We
What-
just want him
what-
to learn quicker, don't we?
Sorry, just quickly. One thing that narks me a little bit about him is I think he has a habit of over egging the pudding somewhat in his post match interviews.
Yeah.
I think sometimes I get home and think, has he watched a Barcelona game from the mid-90s instead of a Walsall game? I get it to a point, but I think he over eggs the pudding slightly on certain points and certain performances. And like we've mentioned before, he's clearly got certain favourites who he talks about a lot and who play regularly. But look, as Jack said, he's learning. He's less than a year into the gig. So let's not be too harsh on him, and let's see where he is in a year's time.
Yeah.
I think his post-match interviews would benefit by somebody asking him questions that are a little more difficult. I understand it's club media, and the club media have got to kind of touch on the right notes, and I kind of get it where it comes from. But they make it too easy for him to do the things that Phil has just said in times to over egg, and asking him a difficult question every now and then might just get a bit more, get a bit deeper into what he really thinks.
When I was shadowing the media team last against Sutton, I was listening to George the Express and Star bloke and Mike Taylor from WM, and Taylor asked him about why he switched out Evans and Jacko, and he said that he's got two number ones and it's just a selection headache, and Evans is the best goalkeeper in the league, and that Evans comes out and commands his box a lot more because he comes out and claims stuff that's like 18 yards off his line. So that's it. If you listen to WM, they like put more, kind of journalist questions to him rather than like keep the club happy.
Yeah, I got you. Okay. I think what you're saying about Owen Evans and that, yes, he does command his box fairly well, but if he didn't hold on to the ball after he'd done that, people would be so much happier.
I was speaking to the Sutton bloke there as well. He was behind us, and he said to me, Owen Evans, he hasn't played the last couple of weeks. I said, yeah, I know we've had the backups come in. He's done really well. I'm surprised he's dropped in. He went, well, every time I've seen Evans, he's looked all right. I said, he's all right on occasions, but don't be surprised today if he does something and throws the ball in the back of his net. And when he was live on air, and when Evans did that, he looked at me and he went, you told me.
Oh, dear. Oh, that's quality. I'm not a Sadler's fan, but we need to give him a chance next season. Sick to death of managers not being given enough time, says 23rd of June. I think we've seen it all the way through the leagues. The amount of times managers change, and it is crazy, isn't it? It is crazy.
Can I ask what people want? Like, what if we had a terrible end to the season, and we had to get rid of him? What would people want? Would they like an experienced manager, or would they like a young manager? Because we've done both recently.
Well, we thought Mike Flynn would be the perfect guy, and Stuart O'Driscoll, we thought he would be great.
He's got the best percentage of any Walsall manager in the last 20 years, I think.
Oh dear, it's a tough one, isn't it? Everybody wants to win the league, and the facts are clear that not everybody can, and everybody wants to win. Walsall are doing better. These next few games coming up, Morecambe on Tuesday, Newport on Saturday, and then Crawley away. How many points are we going to be getting?
We need to get 7.
7. Would you settle for 7? Was that 3, 3, and a 1?
Yeah.
What do you think, Phil? Are we capable of beating Morecambe? Because Morecambe are on a good run of form, aren't they?
We're capable of beating anyone in this division, and we've proved that throughout the season when we play well. But we've also proved that we can, if we don't get it right, we can lose to anyone in the division. But realistically, we've actually got 3 home games in the next 2 weeks, haven't we? We've got Tuesday, Saturday, and then I think is it Mansfield home the following Saturday with
Mansfield
Crawley
will be
as
a
well.
tough one, isn't it?
Now that'll be a tough one. But
I think we're all going to Harrogate, aren't we?
Yeah, I'm off to Harrogate as well.
Yeah.
Oh, you're going to? We're all going. We're all going to Harrogate.
Up for the weekend at Harrogate, but I think. Yeah, I'd be disappointed if we didn't get a minimum of 4 points out the next 2 home games with Morecambe and Newport. But Crawley away. Yeah, I'd probably take a point, but I'd want more. It's difficult, isn't it? I think I'd probably go with Jack and say that I think if we're going to look to sort of build another run, which hopefully we can, then we'd probably need to get I would say 5, minimum 5, hopefully 7 out of the next 3 games would be nice.
Yeah. Pray for 9.
Pray for 9, yeah. 9 would be amazing.
I think the thing is, particularly with Morecambe and Newport just above us in the table, that would sort of pull us past them, or Crawley are just above us as well. So if we get 3 wins there, that would be amazing, wouldn't it? I'd be happy. I'll be happy with 6 points out of that. What do you reckon, Daz?
I think there's some we should win. We could win and lose, as Phil said. For me, I'd be taking in blocks of 5 and trying to win 3 out of 5. I think we got 19 left, or we got 20 left, including the Sutton and Gillingham games. 18 to go. Whether you're doing blocks of 6 or blocks of 3, just try and keep ticking over. For me, just finish as high as you can. I think for the club's self-esteem, for the manager, and for demonstrating development and growth, I think we need to pick up as many points as we can. That's stating the obvious in many ways, but enough points to finish in the top 10 and just take it in blocks of 3 or 4 or 5 and pick up 10 points every block. But trying to pick which Walsall, I mean, it would be very Walsall to not win against Morecambe and Newport, then beat Mansfield. That would be the most Walsall. So I don't know. Just pick up as many points as we can. I don't really count. We need 9 points out of 12 or 20 out of 36 or whatever. Just keep winning games.
Yeah, it's. I think how Walsall and Josh Gordon settling is going to be key. If they can start banging the goals in, then we'll be challenging top 10, maybe even top 7. But if they don't start it in the back of the net, then we're going to struggle, aren't we?
Well, when Daniels was talking to Mike Taylor as well, he said we enjoy being the hunters for the end of the season. So that shows what their ambition is. But it's just whether they can hunt the people down in front of us.
That's it. I think Alan Joyner has made a comment there. Hutchinson needs to play well for Walsall to win more games. I think I'd disagree with that, really. We can't rely on Hutchinson to be the guy.
Yep.
Because Hutchinson is doing well, but I mean, he can get crowded out. Jack Earing has had a good return since he's been back. And as you say, Ryan Stirk, he's a contributor as well. But it's those guys putting the ball in the net, isn't it? Walsall, Josh Gordon, DJT. They got to start finding the net, haven't they? I don't think Jamil Matt is going to be a regular goal scorer for us at the minute.
No, I hope we keep Matt, though, for the sake of the fact that I absolutely love him. I hope we keep him next year, just around as like an experience.
Yeah, in the area sort of thing, yeah. This is one of my last comments, really. Wimbledon, last game of the season, win and get 7th. Be a great way to extend the season into May. I love Lee's positivity. Concussed. That's great. That is.
Lee's still concussed. Yeah. I think I'd get that checked out, Lee. I think that's it.
So I think as a final comment, if we go final comments, so overall January transfer window, for me, promising but not sort of exhilarating. And as for chances till the end of the season, I'd be happy top 12, but obviously much happier higher than that. Phil, thoughts?
So on the January transfer window, not perfect, but much better than it has been in previous seasons.
Yeah.
And as far as the rest of the season is concerned, yeah, I'd like us to finish. We need to finish in the top half of the season. We need to finish within range of the playoffs to give us all a bit of hope and a bit of positivity for next season.
I think Matt Sadler's probably been told that to keep his job, perhaps. I don't know. Jack?
January transfer window, more than happy. Building relationships with clubs around us. We've managed to nick a player from a different club, from a local, which is something we haven't done for quite a few years, if ever, while I've been a fan. So more than happy, building for the future. And where do we need to finish? Maximum 15 points off the playoffs, minimum 5.
Okay. Daz?
I've just seen what Lee's put, 75 points. Kind of that must have been a bigger chair, Lee, than I thought yesterday.
I think it was a paper cup on it that he hit his head, hasn't it?
No, it was the back of a seat, I think.
Oh dear.
So January transfer window, I think a quiet one was okay. I think we probably needed a bit of stability and got it. We've talked about you're never going to replace Draper, which forced 2 of the loans. But I think they had a solid January. I wouldn't criticise them at all. And I agree, top 12, top 10, as many points as you can. Jack, I want to be closer to the playoffs than 15 points, but there you go.
That was the max. You want to be closer than that.
That's it. But at the moment, we're just 6 points off. And if we can sort of stay in touch and not get further away from that, then
this season reminds me a bit of 93, 94 for anybody who's that old. We got playoffs 92, 93 and blew it. 93, 94 kind of we threatened, but never actually did anything. And 94, 95 we got our kind of ourselves into gear and got out of the league. And this does feel like 93, 94 in kind of a kind of middling year before you go again. And kind of with that in mind, make sure get as many points as you can, but make sure we hit the ground running in August, because we must get out of this league.
That's it. And I think as we've said, we're more primed for that than we have been for a few years. The squad for next year is pretty much set. I think need a striker in, I think, but it is pretty much set. And if we haven't spent too much of the budget going into August, then maybe there's more money available for a striker. But that's been good. Thank you very much, guys, for coming on again. And thanks for everybody that's watching, including those from Russia. That's all good. And as I say, if you want to support the channel, you could pop on some super thanks. If you want to get involved with the channel, contact me on my socials. And I do have another show connected with my writing. So I'll put that in the description if you want to have a look at that, if you're interested in writing stuff and all that business. Right then, during the pain. Thanks for watching, everybody. Cheers.